Welcome back to my channel. My name is Andromedus, and today I want to talk about functions. Now, first let me explain, I was planning on doing a different video where I went to the nearby lake and instead of being stuck here in this office. But unfortunately, the area where I live at, we've gotten a lot of rain lately, and on top of that, I've been dealing with an eye problem for about a week now. But I didn't want to put off this video any longer. I wanted to go ahead and get it out. And I also want to go ahead and note ahead of time that I'm not, don't get me wrong, I like money just like anybody else does, but the main priority of these videos is to help other people out. So I know that if these videos aren't 10 minutes or whatever, they won't get monetized, whatever. Like I said, the main point is me helping other people out. So this video may be short, because I've already tried to do this video once and I realized that it's not really that difficult and that deep, so I mean, not for basic understanding of it, so the video is not going to be very long at all. With that out of the way, functions are something that we have used all of our life without even knowing it. Your brain is a wonderful, wonderful tool, a piece of machinery, whatever, however you want to call it. It thinks something that it wants to do, and you do it. And every time that happens, that process happens, it's running a function. Now, I don't want to go all matrix on you. I'm not saying that that's, some people believe that we live in a virtual world or whatever, and that's why everything works the way it does. I'm not here to argue that or argue against that. However, even down to our very, very cellular level, functions are being run. For example, you got antibodies. Anytime you're sick, those antibodies kick into gear, and they go after the virus or bacteria, whatever it is that's antibodies. That's going after the virus and the bacteria, whatever that's infecting your body, the foreign object, and trying to get rid of it. Your heart beats, that's a function. Your lungs are taking in air and expelling air, that's a function. Your body is taking the food that you eat and processing it. Everything that goes into that and going through the whole entire process is a series of functions. So we're doing functions every day without even thinking about it. We do functions while we're asleep. While we're asleep, we're regrowing skin. The body's repairing itself, regaining energy. It's getting rid of information that doesn't seem necessary or whatever, like garbage information. Like there's a thing over here out of the corner of my eye I see. Well, even though I may not necessarily recognize it or pay attention to it, my mind is still taking that in, and while I'm asleep, it deems that that's not something worth noting or whatever, so it throws it out. It's running functions. So functions are just basically something that does something. Like, say for example, you were driving your car and you put your foot on the gas pedal to make it go. You're doing a function. I mean, first of all, you're doing a function by just moving your foot into position to do that with. And you're doing another function where your foot is pressing down on the pedal. And then the fact that the pedal is causing the car to go, that's another function or a series of functions. Anytime you lift your foot off the brake and put your off the gas and put your foot on the brake to make the car stop, that's another series of functions that's being run. So functions is not, again, just like everything else we've talked about, functions are not something to be afraid of. Just know when to use them. If you have something that you need to do one time, there is absolutely no reason to create a function for it. Basically, there is something called a lambda. I'm still working out my understanding of it, but the basic concept behind the lambda I understand. And that's basically inside of a code. How many times am I going to say basically? Inside of a code you're writing, you write a lambda, and it has a throwaway function. Once it's used, it's done. It's never, you can't call it again that way. but you never see it again either. So, but when you create a function though, it needs to be a meaningful function. There needs to be a reason for it, and it needs to be something that you can call over and over again. The naming etiquette or whatever, generally speaking, is you have, just like with the variable, it's a lowercase letter at the very beginning. Like say talk. If you want to name your function talk, then the first letter is lowercase t. If it's two words, let's see, speed up. Okay, that's two words. Well, in languages like Java, then you could write speed and then both of them combined now. Speed with the capital letter J and lowercase s on, or capital letter U and lowercase s on the speed. Python, technically you can do that, but most people just write it as speed underscore up, all lowercase. And it just makes it really easy to understand and read. And that's the one thing you need to make sure any part of your code is it needs to be readable, it needs to be legible, and it needs to be able to, somebody be able to go through and look at it and say, okay, I know what that does. You know, they have an idea of what it does. You don't want to have, like say if you're making a game, you don't want to have a function called level up, but the function deals damage. It's two different things and it doesn't make any sense. So they got to make sense. So if you're going to have a function that's called level up, then that function needs to be able to, you know, level up the player or whatever. There is a thing that you can do that's called recursion with methods, and they basically you call the same method within the method that you're creating. If you're not careful, you can actually cause an infinite loop. You don't want that. It'll crash the computer, run your system out of memory, and it can be bad. So there's ways to break out of that. We can talk about that later or whatever, or you can look into it yourself. Inside classes, in Java it's still called, in Java in both cases it's called method, outside class or inside a class. But with Python and maybe some other languages, when it's inside of a class, it's called a function method. And usually those are a little bit different. Those are defining different things about that class. We'll get into class later on, maybe. Let's see, what else is there? Yeah. One thing to note though is you don't have to write all your methods on the same or functions on the same in the same file that you're writing your main code or whatever. For example, I have a voice assistant code that I'm writing, and I have the main file. One file is main. The second file is certain type of functions. And then I got a third file that's a different type of functions. And I just import those in. I may cover import later on or whatever. But I can call those from outside the file, no problem at all. And it makes it a lot easier to read, and it's not such a long file to read through. Yeah, so that's going to be it. So I don't know what I'll talk about next time. Hopefully I'll be feeling better. I'd really like to take us out to the lake is what I'd really like to do. But I also would really like I'm going to be getting a new phone soon, so hopefully it means a better video. If you have any questions, or if you want to look up things a little bit further, there's a couple of places on YouTube that you can go to that makes things, in my opinion, are really the best ways to go to learn. There's a channel called Brocode, B-R-O-C-O-D-E. He does a lot of wonderful stuff, beginning like beginner's Python, beginner's Java, if you want to go web development, beginner's HTML5, and various stuff like that. Now he's got individual videos, but he also has them combined into one big video. I think most of them are like 12 hours long. But they have a index that you can go through, table of contents, if you will, that you can click on. So if you watched a few videos and you stop and you come back later, you can go right back to where you left off, whatever. Or you can skip through if you already know some of it. You can skip through and look at the other stuff that you may not know or whatever. They're really good. He packs a lot of information in a very, even though it's 12 hours, in my opinion, some other videos that say that they can teach you that language in 2 hours or 4 hours, he teaches way more information in the same amount of period than what those people do. That's the reason why I recommend his channel, because he's really easy to understand. You just code along with him. Always, 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 always code along with whoever it is that you're trying to learn from. You do that for your practice benefit. The more you practice it, just like playing piano or playing guitar or drawing or whatever it is that you're doing, the more you practice, the more you'll get it stuck in your head. Hopefully the more chances are you having a light bulb moment where all of a sudden things just click together and it's just like puzzle pieces just putting together. And another channel that I really like is called Python Simplified. She does a really good job of teaching more advanced stuff, but in such a way where it's easy to follow, even if you're a beginner. And if you code along with her, you'll learn a lot of stuff from her. Yeah. So that's it. I don't know what I'll be talking about in the next video. Hopefully I'll be feeling better soon. Hopefully it'll be outside. Hopefully my eye will be fine. And hopefully I'll have a new phone for a better video. Y'all have a good one. If you like, hit like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video. Peace.